r/rules horror. Posted by you/TheGeckoWrangler. Nick and Rick's Pizza, rules for delivering during creeping season. Hello Daryl. We're relieved to hear you didn't get in over your head with shackled Jack. As we're sure you know by now, there are a few ways that delivery could have gone wrong quickly. But in any case, you handled it fine. On that note, we've noticed you've been handling a few of Cribble Rock Run's more hazardous deliveries remarkably well. For this reason, we've decided to send you delivering to a few of our more seasonal customers this October. You see, Halloween is a very big deal in Cribble Rock Run. Its residents celebrate the occasion much in the same way we celebrate Christmas, though many of them do celebrate both. And as such, many individuals only come to the neighborhood for this celebration. Unlike us, however, they don't just celebrate Halloween a single day of the year, instead celebrating the 14 days that lead up to it as well. They call this occasion creeping season, and although we make exceptional sales during it thanks to all the holiday-related visitors, the period is one of the more risky times of the year to be entering Cribble Rock Run. Creeping season celebrations have a tendency of dissolving into chaos remarkably fast. So, as you might have guessed, we have a special set of rules for our drivers during this period, which we've included below for your convenience. Be sure to read them carefully. Again, these celebrations more often than not get wildly out of hand. Rules for creeping season deliveries. 1. Take with you 3 bags of assorted candy from our supply room before a creeping season delivery. Put them in the mini freezer with Granny Longpaws ham. We'll explain why later. 2. Do not enter Cribble Rock Run without wearing a costume of some sort. Everyone in the neighborhood will be wearing a costume of some kind to celebrate creeping season, and for traditional reasons, they actively hunt anybody they see not wearing a costume. 3. You may hear large groups singing Werewolves of London while in the neighborhood. If you do, immediately start singing along. That song is creeping season's unofficial anthem. Those who sing it tend to be less than friendly with anyone they find not singing the song. We obviously recommend memorizing the song beforehand to avoid any unfortunate incidents. 4. If you notice anyone running close behind your car, throw a few pieces of candy towards them. This is one of the more classic traditions of creeping season. They'll stop pursuing you once they've gotten candy. 5. Make sure to keep decent portions of candy in your pockets at all times. If the above rule wasn't hint enough, candy is an important part of creeping season's traditions. You could get in serious trouble without it. 6. Don't be alarmed if someone in a costume attempts to tackle you. During creeping season, it's considered a fun tradition to attack other costumed individuals in an attempt to steal their candy, which often results in more than a few frenzied skirmishes breaking out. Just give them candy from your pockets, and all will be fine. 7. Be cautious of any boxes you see sitting on the side of the road upon stopping your car, regardless of their size. Chances are, they're inhabited. Those inhabitants just might try to tackle you for candy if you get too close. 8. Keep a particularly close eye on the trees during this time. They've been known to get particularly rambunctious this time of year. If one of them starts twitching, floor the gas pedal until you've passed it. The thing will likely launch itself at you if you're too slow. 9. Do not stop your car near any house with a jack-o'-lantern on its porch. The individuals who display jack-o'-lanterns follow creeping season's more savage traditions. These traditions primarily involve catching people who get too close to their property. Exactly what happens after that varies slightly between individuals, but it typically involves the captured victim becoming household decor. 10. Keep an eye out for bats flying around during your deliveries. Traditionally, large groups of individuals follow them around as they fly. While these groups almost certainly won't attack you, they flail and trash about very erratically as they pursue the bats. They may even crash and slam into you if the bats fly your way. We suggest immediately running off to the side of the bat's path in advance. 11. Should you ever notice an immense elephant-sized blob of licorice and candy corn slowly rolling down the road, get as far away from it as possible immediately. This seasonal visitor is referred to simply as the confector. It encases everything it rolls over in hardened sugar while simultaneously crushing them into candy-sized pieces under its immense weight. Many of Cribble Rock Run's inhabitants follow it as part of a long-standing tradition, throwing foods and random objects of all kinds under the blob to sweeten their flavor. If you're not careful, your car could easily end up being one of the things thrown underneath it. 12. You'll probably also occasionally observe large quantities of candy scattered across the road. This is the doing of one particularly clumsy individual who comes to the neighborhood just for creeping season. Be wary, any number of creatures could dash onto the road without a moment's notice to gather the scattered sugary treats. 13. You may also notice caramel apples strewn about in the road amongst the candy. Do not run them over. These treats are particularly potent. That caramel is practically superglue, and easily strong enough to stick your tires in place. 14. Be sure there isn't any candy visible on your car seats before making a delivery. Should it be noticed, your car will likely be ransacked for its candy. However, the candy in the freezer should be perfectly safe. For one reason or another, none of the neighborhood's inhabitants ever think to look for sugary treasure inside it. 15. If you notice a gathering of large, branchless dead tree trunks leaning near or over the road, do not go under them for any reason. There is a particularly large species of arachnid that shows up here during this holiday period. The skin on their legs and body is so similar to tree bark that the creatures are often mistaken for dead trees. They most commonly hunt by snatching cars off the road, then picking their passengers out with alarming speed. 16. Before leaving any property you've just delivered to, be sure to wish the customer a happy creeping, and toss a piece of candy into their yard. It's a tradition, and one you could quite possibly get into serious trouble over for not respecting. That should be everything you need to know about creeping season. Much like Christmas, this holiday period is very profitable for us. Thanks again to all the seasonal customers visiting to celebrate this anticipated season. But of course, these deliveries are quite risky. Last year, one of our drivers was nearly crushed by the confector after it caught his vehicle, and another simply disappeared without any trace or explanation. Additionally, many of our seasonal regulars celebrating creeping season don't actually come here as much to celebrate the occasion itself, but rather to hunt the prey this season leaves vulnerable. Of course, we obviously also have separate rules and info for dealing with them, which we'll be sending to you in advance within the coming weeks. In short, be extra careful in Cribble Rock Run during creeping season, and be extra mindful of its celebrators. Do not fall for their tricks, and above all else, make sure you don't become their treat. Sincerely, Rick and Nick Castillo.